The storytelling of the friend I never expected to meet. The day I met the friend I never expected to meet began like any other ordinary morning, the kind where the sky looks undecided, the kind where you walk without noticing your own footsteps, and the world seems to move on without caring whether you are ready or not. I remember walking along the old riverside path, a place I had passed 1,000 times yet never truly noticed. Burdened by worries and doubts about the direction of my life, feeling as though the days had become a loop of responsibilities, disappointments, and silent battles no one else could see. I felt tired, not physically, but in a deep quiet way that makes your chest feel heavy, and as I walked, I wondered silently whether anything meaningful could still happen in a life that felt so predictable. And then, without planning it, without any sign or reason, I saw someone standing under the shade of a half-broken wooden shelter near the water, someone who looked just as lost as I felt, someone whose eyes carried the same mixture of hope and exhaustion, someone who would, although I did not know it yet, become the friend who changed the entire direction of my story. At first, we exchanged nothing but a polite nod, the kind strangers give before returning to their own worries, but something in the air that morning invited a different choice. Something made me slow down instead of walking past, something made the stranger look up with the faintest, almost invisible smile, and in that moment, something inside me whispered that this brief, accidental intersection meant more than coincidence. I sat down on the old bench, and he quietly joined me, and without knowing why, we began to talk, not the usual surface-level talk of weather or work or daily routines, but the kind of raw, unfiltered conversation that only happens when two people recognize the same hidden sadness in each other. We talked about dreams we had abandoned, fears we carried alone, mistakes that haunted us, victories that went unnoticed, and the confusing way life sometimes feels like a maze with no clear exit. And each time one of us spoke, the other listened with a patience and understanding that felt strangely natural, as though we had known each other for years instead of minutes. Hours passed without either of us noticing. The morning sun became afternoon light, the afternoon light softened into early evening. And still we talked, sharing stories we had never shared with anyone else, laughing at the ridiculous parts of life, sitting silently through the painful memories, giving each other the kind of comfort that does not need big promises or dramatic gestures, just presence, honesty, and a gentle willingness to understand. It was in those hours that I realized something profound. Sometimes the people who make the biggest impact on your life arrive not with introduction, preparation, or warning, but quietly, unexpectedly, almost accidentally, like a sentence you weren't meant to read but somehow did, and once you read it, you cannot forget it. By the time the sky turned dark and the street lamps flickered on, I felt lighter, as though a burden I had carried alone for years had been lifted simply because someone finally saw it and didn't judge me for it. He told me about his own loneliness, how he had been searching for meaning in a world that often moves too fast for gentle souls, and I admitted how disconnected I had felt from myself, how life had become something I survived rather than something I lived. We promised nothing to each other, no dramatic vows of eternal friendship, no unrealistic expectations. Instead, we parted with a simple understanding that our paths had crossed for a reason, and that neither of us would ignore that quiet gift. Over the next weeks and months, he became the friend I turned to when the world felt too heavy, the friend who reminded me to breathe, to slow down, to see beauty in ordinary things, to laugh when life felt unkind, to believe in myself even when doubt tried to swallow me. He taught me that true friendship is not built on perfection or constant agreement, but on the rare comfort of being fully yourself without fear. And in return, I offered him the same space, the same understanding, the same listening ear that he had given me when we first met. Together, we discovered that even broken paths can lead to beautiful places, that healing happens in small quiet moments, and that sometimes the best kind of friend is the one you never expected to meet, the one who appears when you aren't searching, the one who helps you remember who you are and who you still have the potential to become. And even now, whenever I walk along that riverside path, I smile to myself, because what once was just a route I traveled without thinking has become a sacred memory. A reminder that life has a mysterious way of giving you exactly what you need when you least expect it. And that the friend I met on that ordinary morning remains one of the most extraordinary parts of my life. Proving that sometimes, the most unexpected people make the most unforgettable stories.